Outer Orange.
Premium is the eternal format of card by Vanguard, and we are very close to a potential ban list, and there is quite a bit of takes, especially this one custom ban list in particular that we're going to talk about today. Now, first, I want to make a big disclaimer. Two disclaimers, actually, a whole two. Number one, I haven't played the game in a while. OuterOrange here. I'm in premium format. Just to make that clear. I play standard like almost every day. I just haven't played premium as consistently. Just want to make that clear. All right, OuterOrange is leaving. Bye. That even though I haven't played recently, it doesn't mean that I don't know what decks are doing. Second disclaimer, this is just my opinion. Please don't bash the person who is involved in the post that they made. They were clearly just, they had their own personal feelings. That's okay. So don't do it. Don't be a bad person. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to start more conversations and talk deeply about the custom ban list that someone posted recently. So let's go ahead and look at it. My oh my, I've never done something like this before. This is a little bit new, but this is on Facebook. There's a place called Vanguardians where you can kind of sell cards, look at cards, talk about cards, basically everything related to card by Vanguard. It's on here, and someone made a custom ban list. They said, feel free to comment anything else. We put a lot of thought into this, but we would love to hear opinions from the community. So they're basically saying, hey, talk about it. It's fine. That's no reason why I'm okay with making this video. So basically, let's start out with what they're trying to do. They think that Booster will fail to provide a solid ban list. We, some members of our community, decided to do it ourselves. Hopefully you will agree with our choices, but if you don't, feel free to comment below. I will say I read this. I had a lot of opinions. That's why I'm here to talk about it, and I'm here to talk about it with you. Foremost, to talk about the issues with premium, or more so why people want a ban list to begin with. Basically, the format is a little stale. I know some people are arguing that it's not stale. Conversation, at least from my perspective, the way I like to view it, it's not that there's nothing new to innovate. It's just that even with the new innovations, people are kind of still playing the old stuff, and they're still seeing the same vanguards, they're still seeing the same strides. It's kind of still the same stuff, even with a couple small touches here and there. There has been some small minor adjustments from decks to decks. There's even been some new decks coming out, but it doesn't change the fact that there's still kind of a overall circle of like the same decks. We're still seeing bugs, we're still seeing Granblue, we're still seeing Nectar, we're still seeing kind of the same bulk of decks, and then some people are innovating and trying out some new stuff. And also, it's been 2 years since we've had actual premium products, and it would be nice to have a refresher or maybe even a ban list to kind of help just push the format a little bit, maybe give it some love. And that's my personal take on what I mean by this premium is stale, just to make it clear, because some people actually just truly think it's stale, and then some people are more on my side on it, where they think that it could just use a little bit of a refresher, a little bit of love, you know, just a little tap that isn't just D cards. So let's go ahead and kind of look at this ban list, see what we got going on. First and foremost, they're talking about Nectar and basic this card back to 1. It's kind of funny because Katrina, she just got unbanned in the last ban list, which was a while ago now, but she actually got unbanned, and now people want her back to 1. I don't entirely disagree with this. I can see a reason to put this to 1 to force Nectar players to play something else. So actually, this take isn't too bad. Stride like bashes your skull in for like 70k very easily. It's not hard to set up, and also deck thins like crazy. This is a really insane card. Does it need to be limited? I actually don't know, but I feel if we're going to touch other cards in the ban list, then yes, this card probably needs to be touched too, but I don't know if it needs to be to 1 or 2. I'm not entirely sure on this one, but it does kill off Nectar a little bit if you push this to 1, because they don't have that many new good strides, which again goes back to my point of it would be nice to have more strides to kind of fix these kind of problems. Next, they put Granblue. They just banned Ghost Ship, and I'm a Granblue enthusiast. Guys, I got my Stoicheia shirt on. Like, I ain't messing around today. It's Stoicheia day for me. Strongly disagree with this. I understand the reasoning. They said Granblue has almost everything: early, mid, late game, card draw, hand fixing, hand traps, and all sorts of interactions. We don't mind that Granblue can fix its hand, but to massively draw cards on top of that, no thank you. This change will not make Granblue a bad deck by all means, but it will still reduce their card draw and pressure that they put on the table, at least during the first turns of the game. I actually disagree with this ban. I understand touching Granblue, but I actually think cards like Skull Dragon can probably go, especially since we have Crest coming soon. I do think the Granblue needs some kind of draw engine, because it actually has no draw outside of this. A lot of it is just filtering. More so than drawing, so I actually think this card should stay, but I do see a reason to ban something else, and I'm not entirely sure what needs to go, because I think Crest is a big problem, and I would prioritize banning Crests over banning this card. I think Crests are a much larger issue within the grand scheme of things, and they should just all go. Specifically the Stride Crest that we're getting, not specifically the Energy Crest or anything like that, specifically the Stride Crest. I definitely think they should be out of premium format, and I'll talk about this more a little bit later here. We're getting Harry and Night Rose Crest soon, which I think is only only going to make this worse. I've been testing recently. I've been seeing the power of Harry. It's pretty disgusting. I don't think it's a good idea to put Crest in premium, but that's my personal opinion. Next we have Nubatama. I don't think this needs a restriction at all. I just think, again, Crest just needs to be banned. So they're basically saying here to choice restrict the Crest with the history collection, and so that way you're not as like pushed, there's not as much comboing, the Crest doesn't give you as much power, and you know, there's just a bunch of stuff. The Nubatama is insanely powerful, don't get me wrong. The deck's actually really strong. It is one of the strongest decks in the format right now. It can play into basically any game plan, and by the way, if there were to be a ban, this of course would be changed. Like say Nubatama doesn't get touched at all, Nubatama might not even be the best deck in the format anymore just because of the format we're in. The Nubatama is like the most fair, the most comfortable pick to pick into a premium right now because it can fight almost anything and not have to stress out over certain matchups. Whereas if you're playing a deck like Granblue or Pale Moon or basically any other deck that has a little bit more interactive pieces in the deck, they can't play because of bugs. And because of that, Nubatama is just a safer choice. It's not like the all hail like this is the best deck in the format period. It's just that right now in the format we're in and heavily bugs being played, this is one of the nicest and most comfortable picks to pick, especially if you're like a Nubatama main. Now again, I'm gonna bring this back, ban Crests. That's all I'm gonna say. Just ban them. Just ban them. So this one's a little bit of a weird one. I don't fully agree with this, especially going further down as we discuss this a little bit further. But next we have Narukami. Limiting Exterm to 1 seems useless considering that Narukami just needs 1 copy along with the Stunverse. Playing around both strides is almost impossible for most decks, so banning Stunverse seems to be the right call. Considering that Ladder is also banned, we think this is a fair, they banned Ladder. I don't agree with that. We can think of the fair solution. I think this is fine. Narukami, it has no play whatsoever right now. It is actually being gate kept by Ladder. It makes them lose an entire turn, and usually people will pop off because most people kill on second stride, sometimes even on first stride, but usually it's the second one that really usually closes it out. I actually don't think Narukami needs to be hit at all. Even if there were other decks to be hit, I think this deck is fine. It is powerful. This is a powerful deck, but it's not so powerful that it needs to get hit. Also, we don't know what a new form would look like, and I just don't think this card needs to be touched at all. This deck, if you're enjoying this content that you're currently seeing right here, do not forget to like and subscribe to help me support the channel. You guys have been doing such a wonderful job of subbing. If you haven't already subbed, please feel free to sub. Yeah, you should do it. Then you can see this beautiful face more often. Yeah. I know, I'm not gonna lie, a while ago I was kind of saying like, hey, like Gredora is kind of fine, but this was a while ago. This was before we got new cards. There's a lot, it was a bit of a different time. I think during that time bugs was a little bit more fair. I don't think it's as fair now. The more tools that keep coming into the deck, the stronger it gets. It's getting more tanky, it's just getting more aggressive. I definitely 100% think this card should just be banned, or at most put to 1. Just 1 copy, not even 2, just 1 copy. You get your 1 time to do the crazy thing you do, and then you have to do something else. Like that 4 is just too much. 4 has been too much for a while, and I think back in the day it wasn't as miserable, but I think now this card is just miserable. I will say, if this card gets ever touched, there has to be a massive nuke behind it. You can't just ban this card, not ban it anything else. It is because it unleashes a bunch of decks to suddenly be powerful, because right now this card is gatekeeping like 80% of the card pool. It's gatekeeping so much from the format, it's not even funny. There's so many decks that just literally can't play because of this card. We need to instantly fix whatever's coming next, because there's definitely a lot of decks that are going to rise up, and that's going to definitely change the format. So because it's going to change the format, it's something to really keep on the lookout. So I will say this ban, if it were to happen, would become with a caveat. I know some people are going to be in the conversation, in the chat, in the comments saying, no, Gredora is fair. No, it's not. We need to all just accept the fact that this card just needs to go. There's just no more, there's not enough reasoning in the world that would give me yes, there's decks that can play around it, that can kill it. I play Bermuda Triangle. I know Bermuda Triangle is perfectly fine to this deck, but what sucks is that I haven't been able to play any of the clans I've been wanting to play for years now because of this deck existing. I know that Bucks players want to play their deck. I know they want you know, to be able to play the game, because yes, if you kill this, it kills Mega Colony. However, we could just get new strides and maybe we can recover from there. Like, there's other ways to approach this, but I don't think this card should be around. It also messes with newer players playing the game. I feel like new players see this card, they just don't want to play, because if you're going to play in competition, you're going to see this card. It's not fun to play into. This card just needs to go. Like, I know I went on a rant about this, but this card just, it's got to go. Bermuda Triangle, this was an interesting one. I'm a little biased towards it because I don't disagree with this, but I would also want to see other cards be unrestricted too then. So basically this one says Highlander Highlander was a really cool card. Basically put Q-Tire to 1, put Anj back to 4, which is pretty fair. I don't disagree with any of this. Like I said, I don't know what they're going to do in the future with Anj. If there's like a new deck set that will come out, who knows what they're going to do. Then we have the Pearl Sisters here, but it says to choice restrict them with Q-Tire. I don't even think you need that if you bring Q-Tire back. I actually think Q-Tire is pretty fair. I know some people disagree with me on this. I know some people really don't like this card, but I understand playing Q-Tire to 1 and just letting Highlander do its thing, because ride down meta doesn't exist anymore. Highlander isn't going to be as oppressive, I think, even with Q-Tire. There's other builds you can do, and maybe it is going to be oppressive. I don't actually know. I've only really played the reindeer version. I tried other versions. It's pretty okay, but I personally just really like this card. If people disagree with me on this, I can understand to disagree with me on this. I am a little biased. I just really like Q-Tire. I also would prefer to see this unbanned V before premium, to be honest with you, but that's just not going to happen. V is just kind of dead. We have Aqua Force. This is a straight no. They're basically saying this card's powerful and multiple ways they could res, so they just want to kill this card, put it to 2. I strongly disagree with this because this card, the Aqua Force isn't doing anything, and even with bans, Aqua Force isn't doing anything. Aqua Force is not that powerful. It's right. It's like, it's a fair deck. It's just a fair deck. It doesn't have really much of a win con. It just beats your face in with Excel markers. This just shouldn't be a thing. You don't need to restrict this card at all, especially with Crest existing. This deck is way too fair. Other decks do what this deck wishes it could do, like Dimension Police. Also a no. I disagree with this strongly. I understand the logic behind it because they get like massive shield and they can play into this insane win con, blah blah blah. At that situation, just ban Linka or restrict Linka to 1 at that point. Like, I don't think this strat needs to be touched at all. This strat is the reason why the clan is even existing right now, and it's not the best clan in the format by far. Like, this card is perfectly fine. It is a lot of shield, but guess what? Like, Dimension Police is a grade 3 oriented deck. They run so many grade 3s that are shieldless. Killing this card kind of kills them internally. Like, they just can't survive. And Dieliner works with this card because Dieliner has shield, and then this gives extra. It's like the whole point of the deck's existence. So I strongly disagree with this. Next we have Link Joker. I'll be honest with you, I have no clue what Link Joker is doing, but again, I'm just gonna say the same thing I've been saying over and over again. Just ban the crests. Ban all the crests. Like, just all the crests, future ones coming out, current ones that are existing, just ban them. Don't let them be in premium. That's end of discussion. Tachikaze, I don't know what Tachi's doing. I'll be honest with you. I know that Tachi has some insane combos and stuff like that, but I don't think it's like that insane. There's like one person, maybe 2 people that innovating the deck anyway, and it has some issues of its own. I don't think Tachi's needs to be touched just because no one's playing it. And even if it is like super powerful, I think it's fine to just let this deck do its thing. If it becomes oppressive, like too much, we can later on touch it. I don't know. I think this deck's fine. I really do. I think we can leave that alone. Royal Paladin, the Crystal Luster restriction, chain ranker restriction. I can understand the logic behind this actually, but I do think that Royal Paladins could just use new strides or new ways to play the game that isn't just Crystal Luster the deck, because it is really their only win con. I guess limiting can make sense since they're saying here to limit put them on like a particular like way. But I will say Jewel Knights doesn't have anything else going for it. It kind of needs this. It does have its new trial deck stuff that's pretty good, so I can kind of understand the reasoning behind this, but also at the same time I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't think Rose needs to be touched, but I understand the reason, because this deck, it can be very powerful. It's just currently being checked by some decks, and I can see a world where if like some decks get banned and this deck goes up in power, because it is pretty impressive. But also Hanami kind of checks this deck. That's why I don't think this needs to be touched. Next we have Percival. I don't know. I don't know about this one. I think this is fine. Like I don't think Gold is that oppressive. It has a really good win con like later on in the game, but it has to live to that point. And if you've ever watched like Gold Paladins face like a stronger deck, the stronger deck usually wins. So I don't know. I disagree with this. I don't think Golds need to be touched right now. I think they're perfectly fine where they are. Just leave Percival alone in premium. I think it's fine right now. Pale Moon and Gear Chronicle, choice restrictions between the grade 1 and the respective history collection strides for the future proofing, but same reasoning. Again, we talked about this like in the video, like in this video already. Ban crests. Like, stop doing this. Just ban crests. Like yes, this is going to be a problem. It's very obviously a problem. Crests are a problem. Just ban the crests. Spike Brothers, I disagree with this. I understand the unfairness of like them getting to GP8 or them doing some crazy loops like while you're on grade 2 and all that kind of stuff, but this deck is also like a bricky mess. I don't think that anything should be touched with Spec Brothers right now, especially since like it is definitely not like a tier 1 tier 2 deck. It's kind of a little bit further down. It has its moments. I will say this deck can randomly pop off. If you like a god day on this deck, you can like randomly just win a bunch of games. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think anything needs to be touched here. Granblue, again, the crest restriction. I'm gonna say it one more time. Just ban the crests. Great Nature, unrestricting this, I can understand that. I'm just unrestricting the Spangled. This shouldn't have been restricted to begin with. Others. So this is where I really disagree with this list. I definitely don't think ladder is broken or unfair or any of that stuff that's written here. It's ladder is for one turn. Also, ladder helps other decks stay in the game, and also it prevents some certain decks from like accelerating too fast. And I just think this card's perfectly fine. I really don't think it. I know it's hurting Narukami and Kagero, but in all honesty, like it's also holding them back from like randomly exploding on you. Every single Overtrigger card is banned as well. There are a lot of people, you know, this is like a very continuous conversation. This conversation has been happening since these have come out. I'm definitely on that boat of just banning these in premium, so I'm not even gonna get into the ifs and whys and buts and whatever else. I definitely agree with this. It should just go. But we've been saying this for years, and it still hasn't happened. I really doubt anything will change today. It's just, I've just kind of personally accepted the fact that they're staying. I will say they don't feel as unfair as they can feel unfair in standard, in my personal opinion. So that's just how I view them. That's basically it. So that was basically the entire thing. And by the way, a lot of people have been talking about this entire little custom ban list. For some reason, this one in particular, everyone's been going like crazy about, and it's just been a thing. TLDR is a lot of people just don't agree with this person's opinions, and some of them are pretty accurate, and some of them I feel are a little too much. I'll be honest with y'all, I don't think anything's gonna get banned. So I know there's been a lot of conversation about the ban list, especially for primo and stuff. I don't think anything's gonna get touched. We're probably just gonna have another year of just like nothing happening. But who knows? Maybe I'm gonna eat my words and they're gonna have like a nuclear ban list. You never know with Viscera. Anything's possible in card fight Vanguard. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed that. At the end of the day, it's all about just talking about this stuff and opinions. Some people can be right, some people can be wrong. We're not all right. We're not all wrong. We're not all testing every single possible deck on the planet. Maybe some people have different local scene. It's okay to have different opinions. I know some people have been kind of going wild over that custom ban. Just remember, maybe their locals is heavily Aqua Force focused, or you know, who knows what's going on on their side of things. Maybe they're seeing some different interactions that we're not seeing. It's okay to just listen to what people have to say. That's how I feel about this. Like I said, I disagree with some of the stuff the guy said too, but it's okay. We don't have to agree. Thank you guys at shop code orange if you need any cards or anything like that. We got a bunch of BCSs coming up, so you may need some stuff, so pick it up with my code. And then guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, subscribe and all that kind of fun stuff. Peace out, das vidania, see you guys in a future video. Bye.